So, physical media and COVID conditioning. What are you on about? AJ Chats, new episode. Let's talk about it. So, welcome to the channel, everyone. So, if you're new, then glad to have you here. Now, every 2 weeks, I do a series now called AJ Chats, where I just sit down and I ramble on about something that might be in my mind, stuff playing around, stuff to get off of my chest, and stuff which gives you something to think about, to digest, and maybe share your thoughts on. And we get into a nice, friendly conversation about it down below in the comments. That's the idea of this series. So, a few weeks ago, I think one of my first episodes of this, I'd done a video on collecting physical media and how we are being taken the mickey out of by the companies, by the same release, followed by the same release with different packaging and all this sort of stuff. But today I'm going to be talking about COVID conditioning, a thing that I like to call COVID conditioning. I don't think anyone else had coined this term with regards to physical media collecting or anything like that. So you're here first to talk about it. And I don't think this is something that people have actually realised has happened. So let's talk about it. As we all know, the world was struck down with COVID-19 at the start of 2020. The world shut down. Everything. Industry shut down. The country shut down, transport shut down for the most part, shops shut. You know, there was very little open and very little going on for a long time, and this obviously affected TV studios, film studios, the releases of physical media and all this sort of stuff. So these companies that produce and release your 4Ks, your Blu-rays, your DVDs, all of a sudden they've got no income. They've got nothing to put out because Hollywood has halted making movies, cinema releases have stopped, TV has stopped filming, and thusly this had a knock-on impact with new films coming out. So the studios that release via physical media, what could they do? What can we do to ensure that we are going to get profits? So this video is like a bit of an addendum to that video that I'd done maybe 6 weeks ago about the different versions. And it is. Now, when these companies had no new material to release, or very little new material to release, they resorted to looking at their back catalogue items, as we've already discussed, and repackaging, making them into, you know, premium releases, steelbook, your versions that come with your art cards and your books in a solid case and all this sort of stuff. And we got an influx of these kind of releases coming at us over that period. It kept the companies in business, it kept an income coming into them, it kept physical media collectors happy because they were getting something. There was something coming out that they could get their little paws into, but only, like I said before, these releases grew and grew and grew, and we started being taken the mickey out of, right? Now I don't want to get into that because I did get into that before, but what's happened is, you know, the companies found a way to exploit us during a season, shall we say, of nothing, where there had been very little, where we could probably have saved a considerable amount of money. They gave us these older releases prettied up, right? And we fell for it. We went out and we bought it, and I was part of that as well. Now, there's always been premium releases, there's always been special edition releases and all this sort of stuff, right? But not to the effect that what we have now, not the amount that we have now, that's being shoved upon us, right, over and over again, and the fact that we're being taken a mickey out of. Now, this all comes from COVID. This is where it all started. This is where this practice began. And as places got back to work, as Hollywood got back to work, as the TV studios got back to work, the writers got back, everyone got back to work and they started producing new films. These films started rolling out. We started seeing them hit physical media after not so much a cinema release, theatrical release, but online and this sort of thing. And they started coming out. But by this point, we were conditioned into collecting, into picking up these older titles. So in a way, COVID for the studios has had a very positive impact. Yes, a negative impact from one perspective as a collector, but a positive. It can be taken either way, can't it? You could see it as a positive, that you're getting all these fantastic new releases, or you could perceive it as a negative. The studios themselves perceive it as a positive, so much so that they know that they have conditioned us. Yes, psychologically we have been conditioned, and this goes into marketing and into all this sort of thing. It's tactics that shops use. Don't think that there aren't people that are employed that are psychologists, that study human behaviour and what best. Of course they do. They know full well that when you walk into a shop, the first place your head is going to turn is to, it's either the left or right, I can't remember now, and thusly that's why you have big displays of special offer stuff there. Booze, wines and spirits in a shop are always primarily shoved down the far end of the shop, because they know that by the time that you've worked around a massive supermarket, that you've worked up a thirst, right? So let's have that at the very end of the store so that you treat yourself because you're thirsty and you want something to drink, and it's more appealing when you get there. Sweets being at the checkouts, which that isn't done so much now, but why do you think sweets and that were put at checkouts? It's for the little kids that stood there looking, saying, I want to, and the same has gone on with us. We've been conditioned into an array of special releases while we've had nothing else to fall back onto, no new releases to fall back onto, or very few new releases to fall back onto. We've been given these special releases that then, coming out of COVID, as everything has ramped back up with brand new releases, the influx of older stuff being re-released as special editions has increased tenfold. It truly has, right? I mean, I look around my room and I look at the special editions that I've got, the premium format type, the steel books, the ones with the books, hardbound square box with books in, all this sort of stuff, art cards, and I look at them and I think, these have all come over the past 3 years. Yes, have a look around your own rooms if you're a collector of this stuff and ask yourself, when has a lot of this stuff come about? You can see that we've been forced. Forced is the wrong word. We have been conditioned into accepting these releases as standard, but they wouldn't have been standard had COVID never happened. Right, of course we'd have got special editions, back catalogue titles, but not to the impact that we do now, not to the amount that we do now. This is something that has come about because of COVID, and no one realises it. No one sees it. No one ever talks about it, and no one comments about it. Why is that? Is it just that people don't realise? They don't realise what's gone on? But anyway, that's just my thoughts. That's my thoughts on this, right? And like I said, this series is done for a bit of fun, for me to just talk. I'm not saying I'm right, but it's thoughts that go through my head that this is what's happened, that we have been conditioned. All the evidence does point towards it. Why don't you think about what I've said, get down in the comments below and tell me your thoughts on whether this is the case, whether COVID is the negative impact, the negative driving force for what's happened with physical media collecting today, right? Like I said, yes, I know there's always been premium format releases, but to the amount that we get today, not a week goes by and we get something that's premium release. Yeah, and again, over and over, and I know I've gone into that, I've said this and I'm repeating myself because I've done a whole video on it, but this is the world that we're living in now as a Blu-ray physical media 4K DVD collector, and it's because of COVID. Thoughts. That's all this channel is to do. All these videos are to do is to encourage thoughts, to encourage you to mull stuff over in your head, leave me a comment down below on your thoughts on what I've just discussed. Anyway, this is AJ. That's it. I'm done for another AJ Chats. Until in 2 weeks' time, when I'll be back with another episode and I'll give you some food for thought. That's what I'm here for. Hit the subscribe button. Come and join the channel. Comment down below. Give me a thumbs up. Share the video. Whatever you want to do with it. And I'll see you all on the next one. Take care all and goodbye.